After a long period of Disney World closures, announcements, and numerous other changes, are you finally ready to book that dream vacation? If it's been a minute since your last visit, or if this is your first time visiting ever, then stick around. I've got a few things you need to catch up on. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. Today I'm going to fill you in on all the different changes Disney World has undergone lately. Now trust me friends, Disney World has changed a lot over the past year and a half. So if you don't want to be blindsided by the latest updates and price increases before you take those first steps to securing your Disney World tickets and reservations, then hold on tight, buckle up, because we're about to take you on a ride through this hectic time in Disney World history. What a time to be alive. Let's go. Okay, Disney technology is a force to be reckoned with because there is a lot going on. When it comes to technological advancements, Disney parks have always prided themselves in getting ahead of the game, except when it comes to Tomorrowland, where they never can seem to catch up. One of the ways Disney helps guests stay connected and keep guest reservations, pictures, park maps all in one place is the My Disney Experience app. Now, this app isn't brand spanking new like some of the other techie things I'll be talking about in just a second. Rather, this app launched back in January 2013, so if you've been to the park since then, you've probably heard about all the things this app can do for you. However, over the years, the My Disney Experience app, MDE, MDX, however you refer to it, has been updated and upgraded. How so? For starters, you can now use the My Disney Experience app's mobile checkout feature to purchase items in Disney gift shops without having to wait in crazy long lines. Not every gift shop, just select gift shops, as Disney likes to call certain. They all use the word select for some reason. But you can also mobile order quick service meals at Disney parks and hotels, and the My Disney Experience app also provides you with another way to hold on to your park tickets without having to carry around a physical ticket or wear a Magic Band. The Disney Magic Mobile keeps yours and your travel party's valid admissions on the app. You can even customize your virtual tickets with cute little Disney characters, because Disney knows we're always suckers for customization. And then there's the virtual queue option, which has been a rodeo lately, let me tell you. Once upon a time, and not too terribly long ago, one of the only ways to ride Disney's Hollywood Studios' top-tier Star Wars attraction, Rise of the Resistance, was to get a spot in its virtual queue. And to do that, you had to snag a boarding pass on your My Disney Experience app. However, on September 23rd, Disney paused boarding pass distributions for Rise of the Resistance. Now, guests will have to wait in the traditional queue line or pay for line jumping privileges, which I'll talk about again in just a second. This doesn't mean boarding passes are gone for good, though. In fact, Disney will still be using boarding pass distributions in virtual queues for the newest Epcot dark ride, Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, which opens to the public October 1st. And since Disney announced that Rise of the Resistance boarding passes are on pause and not canceled altogether, the team and I are taking that as a big sign that Disney will more than likely use them for the Star Wars attraction at a later date and help control massive crowd levels. Keep an eye on our channel so you can keep track of when or if boarding passes will return for Rise of the Resistance, or if they'll be announced for other attractions later on. In the meantime, you're more than welcome to check out my videos covering the boarding pass procedures of the past so that you'll know what to expect when it comes to securing your place in line for Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. Okay, just a second ago I mentioned how you'll eventually have the option of paying to skip the line for Rise of the Resistance, so let's move on to that next. In the not-so-distant future, the My Disney Experience app will feature a new extension which will connect you to the Disney Genie app. The Disney Genie will be at base level a complimentary app that'll help guests maximize their time in the parks, according to Disney. The free version of Disney Genie will create customized itineraries for you and your travel party based on park preferences. Through these itineraries, Disney's going to be able to guide you around the parks, give you helpful tips as to what times of the day you should hit up certain rides and attractions to avoid those overly excruciating wait times. So it's basically Disney's version of a touring plan. However, these itineraries won't guarantee that you won't still have to wait in a super long queue, especially if you're trying to hit up a more popular attraction during a crowded Disney day. And that's where the Disney Genie Plus comes in. Yep, you get to pay to skip the lines now. For an extra $15 per person per day, you can pay for the Disney Genie Plus feature, which will give you access to Disney's Lightning Lanes. Remember those fast pass queues? That's basically the Lightning Lanes now. They allow you to bypass the standard queue line for select attractions and enter a line that's much shorter, so you don't have to worry about waiting hours to board certain rides. The main differences between Lightning Lanes and the old FastPass system are that A, FastPass was a free service and Lightning Lane is a premium one, and B, you could schedule 3 FastPass selections 30 to 60 days before your trip started, whereas now you'll only be able to make Lightning Lane selections on the day of your visit. I've got a video breaking down all your questions surrounding this new service. You can go check that out. But for now, that's the basic gist of the new system. With the Lightning Lanes, you'll be able to choose to bypass the main lines of over 40 different rides and attractions. There are a few exceptions, though. The more popular rides, like Rise of the Resistance, Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, and Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, will not be included in Lightning Lane selections. Those are what we call fancy rides. Always a loophole. Instead, you'll have to pay extra for an individual attraction selection to skip the line at these premium rides, meaning you'll have to pay a separate price to skip the lines at these premium rides. So you've already paid for Disney Genie Plus, and then to ride these guys, you've got to pay an extra individual attraction rate. Now, I'm splitting hairs here, but you don't actually have to have Disney Genie Plus in order to buy the special fancy rides. Those can be bought separately, but you cannot get them through just Disney Genie Plus. Again, I already did lots of videos on this, lots of stuff explained in those videos, so definitely go check those out. Now, when the Disney Genie app goes live this fall, I recommend you go ahead and download it to at least study up on its features. Even if you're not a fan of what you're hearing about regarding this new service, it's still good to familiarize yourself with the latest park edition and check out what it can do for you for free. You got nothing to lose, right? And if you still don't like it, your phone has a delete option for a reason, but Disney's invested a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of marketing into this, and I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon, so might as well get used to it. Now, the biggest thing you need to take away from all this techie talk is this: when you go to Disney, make sure to keep your phone charged. Bring portable chargers so you can charge while you're on the go, and bring USB cords so you can charge your phone while at select stationary spots that have charging ports available for you to use. Did you forget both of those items? No worries, you can always purchase that fuel rod for $30 at one of the fuel rod machines around the property. Fuel rods are portable chargers, and when your fuel rod is drained of all its charging juice, you're more than welcome to swap it out for a fully charged one at the next fuel rod station you come by. Okay, you are going to need to stretch your wallet. This is the next thing you need to know if you're thinking about going to Disney World. Not even wishing upon a star is going to keep away those Disney price increases, not for any of us. During your next Disney visit, you might run across some hidden fees on your vacation bill that you weren't expecting. And though some of those price hikes seem fairly insignificant, they are still fierce because there are many. Expect to pay for all Magic Bands from here on out. Even if you're staying at a Disney hotel, you'll no longer be able to select complimentary Magic Bands to be delivered to your house. So if you're still wanting new Magic Bands before the start of your trip and you want them delivered to your home, you'll need to purchase them ahead of time. Magic Bands range in price on the Shop Disney website from $20 to $24.99 and up, depending on if you're looking for a basic style or you're wanting to purchase something with more bling or you're trying to snatch an exclusive design. Another thing that's no longer complimentary with your Disney hotel stay is parking. If you drive to Disney and park in your resort's lot, expect to pay around $15 to $25 per night to keep your car on property. So what other major changes are happening over at the Disney hotels that you should know about price-wise? Starting in October, guests staying at a Disney resort will be able to enter the Disney parks 30 minutes before opening. That's not too different from how Extra Magic Hours used to work back in the ye olde days, besides the fact that guests were once able to enter an hour before instead of just 30 minutes before. However, the price increase comes for those who are wanting to stay at the parks after they close. Previously, all Disney hotel guests had the opportunity to stay in the parks later on select evenings. But now, guests will be able to stay in any park after closure, but this perk will only be available for those staying in a deluxe hotel. So aside from the resort price hikes, expect to find multiple price hikes for different Disney foods, merchandise, and drinks as well. Most food price increases are going to range from an extra 25 cents to $1 difference, but some can be a little steeper and push into that $3 and $4 range, like the Canton Pepper Beef over at Nine Dragons restaurant went from $20 to $24. Or the Baja Tacos de Pescado over at La Hacienda de San Angel that went from $29 to $38. As far as merchandise goes, there are a handful of items I've seen jump up in price this year. Savi's Workshop customizable lightsabers are a big one. Originally, the Build Your Own Saber experience was $199 plus tax, but it jumped across the $200 threshold and now sits at $219 plus tax per builder. Plush toys like Wishables and Nuimos also face the wrath of price increases this year. Wishables blind bags now cost $12.99 a piece, though they used to cost $9.99 a piece, and Nuimos now cost $19.99 instead of their original $17.99. And that's not even including the clothes and accessories you can purchase for those little guys on top of that $20 price tag. So yeah, price increases across the board. Food we keep see going up, drinks we keep see going up, merchandise is going up. As per usual, this is normal for Disney. They often do price increases around this time of year. The dollars and cents absolutely add up, so be prepared. And that's only scratching the surface of the price increases around the parks. I know we hate to see it happen, but these can be managed and some of them can even be avoided. For instance, you don't have to buy a Magic Band. That's just a fun extra accessory nowadays. You can always continue to use the physical park tickets or the Magic Mobile option on your My Disney Experience app to keep hold of your theme park admission instead. You can also purchase Disney souvenirs ahead of time on the Shop Disney website. Shop Disney often has seasonal discounts and sales going on that'll help take away the sting of the multiple price increases. In a general sense, you don't have to do a lot of these things. You don't need to stay in a deluxe resort or make a reservation for Savi's Workshop or even take a car to Disney if you're choosing to fly to Orlando instead. However, if you want to pay for these prices for the convenience, added perks, and just splash of extra fun, make sure to plan ahead and save up for the future expenses. We've got a whole video on hidden charges in Disney World. That's a good one to watch as well. All right, the next thing you're going to need to do if you're going back to Disney World is catch up on what's actually open. A lot has changed since last year's park closures and reopenings, and experiences are still being impacted by COVID. Many restaurants are still temporarily unavailable, including Hoop-De-Doo Musical Review at Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort, Storybook Dining at Artist Point, Disney's Wilderness Lodge, Monsieur Paul in the France Pavilion in Epcot, and lots of other park and resort dining experiences as well. You can find the complete list of all the restaurants that still haven't opened in Disney World on the DFB website. A handful of hotels are also still unavailable at this time, but all of them should be back up and running by the end of the year, except for All-Star Sports. Disney's Port Orleans resorts are going to be opening in October, Riverside on October 14th, and French Quarter on October 28th. All-Star Sports was supposed to open on December 9th, but has postponed its opening inevitably at this point. They're not giving us an opening date right now. Now, inside the parks, we're still waiting for a few shows and attractions to return, like Walt Disney World Railroad, which, come to think of it, has actually been closed going on 2 years now, Enchanted Tales with Belle, Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular, Voyage of the Little Mermaid, Up, A Great Bird Adventure, Fantasmic, and Disney's Festival of Fantasy Parade. Disney's Typhoon Lagoon water park has also been kept dark since last year's closure, but Disney's Blizzard Beach did reopen to help fill the water park-shaped hole in your heart. And then there's the poor old NBA experience over at Disney Springs. Now, this experience opened in August 2019 and closed up shop with the rest of Disney World during the shutdown, but Disney announced last month that the experience would not return permanently. There are also a variety of shops and specialty entertainment like character meet and greets and various sideshow performances that haven't yet returned, but there's no news on whether some of these Disney experiences are going to see permanent closures or are just waiting for the opportune time to reopen to the public again. I'll keep on the lookout for when I hear more about them. After all, there seems to be a new announcement about a reopening daily. Now, as exciting as it is to hear about Disney World's reopenings, Disney's also getting ready to welcome some new experiences that I'm just as excited for. A ton of new things are starting up October 1st, of course, just in time for the 50th anniversary celebration. Over in Epcot, the France Pavilions hop in with new activities. Both the dark ride Remy's Ratatouille Adventure and the table quick service creperie restaurant, La Creperie de Paris, that you guys have heard me talk about like every day for the past 3 months, will be officially opening on October 1st, so be prepared for that area to be crowded when those experiences first open up, even though, yes, they've basically been open for a month with lots of previews. And in the evening, Epcot's going to introduce its new nighttime spectacular, Harmonious. It's been years in the making, but I'm hoping this new show filled with music, pyrotechnics, and choreographed fountains, those big giant fountains in the middle of the World Showcase Lagoon right now, is everything it's been hyped up to be. And I hope those giant barges in the middle of the lagoon are worth it, because they're real big and they're right in the middle of everything and just doesn't feel right. Okay. Now, Magic Kingdom is also getting a brand new fireworks show called Disney Enchantment, which will feature a projection show no longer limited to just Cinderella Castle. It's going to be taking over all of Main Street, USA. That being said, I'm sure going to miss Happily Ever After. The show guests have grown to know and love over the past 4 years will be retired to make way for Disney Enchantment and will not return after the 18-month-long celebration has concluded. AFAIK. Now let's pick the mood back up again with exciting things like how Disney's Animal Kingdom will also be getting a new outdoor show starting October 1st called Disney Kite Tales. It's going to feature some of our favorite Disney animal friends as they soar through the air as kites. You are so excited about that, I know. And let's not forget all the gold statues in the Disney World parks. These represent some of the most influential characters that have helped shape the Disney parks and the company. We probably would have made a few tweaks here and there, like adding Tangled characters somewhere in that mix, but hey, beggars can't be choosers, and we do have 50 new statues. All the statues have been installed, and if you go to the parks right now, you can go on basically a little scavenger hunt to find all of them. Lastly, if you're in the parks after nightfall, expect to see each of the 4 main park beacons, icons, weenies, whatever you want to call them, brought to life under a dazzling cacophony of iridescent colors. I don't even know what it's going to look like, but Disney's concept art has lots of glowing stuff floating up in the air, so we'll see. Some experiences are going to be opening sometime after the anniversary kickoff, though Disney hasn't officially announced when they're going to be ready for the public eye. Tron Lights Out Go Power Run is currently being constructed in Tomorrowland at the Magic Kingdom. That's why the train's been closed forever. And this is going to be a high-speed roller coaster where you'll take charge of your very own light cycle and ride it through twists, turns, and light tunnels. Meanwhile, Epcot's also busy constructing their newest high-speed roller coaster. Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind will feature a reverse launch and a 360-degree rotation system for each ride vehicle. Plus, you're going to be able to rock out to some groovy tunes, Peter Quill style. We still don't have an official launch date, get it, for either of these rides, but their construction is well underway, so we'll let you know as soon as we get a whiff of a possible time frame. The same goes for the experiences that'll be closing for an extended period of time for rehauling and reimagining. Splash Mountain, that'll be ceasing operations soon to make way for the newest Princess and the Frog attraction. Recently, Disney released concept art for the reimagined Log Flume ride. From the looks of the pictures, prepare to see new characters, Mardi Gras themes, and Princess Tiana taking charge. After staying quiet since the shutdown, Disney's finally announced that the old Finding Nemo the musical production at Disney's Animal Kingdom will be closed for good. Instead, an updated version of the production will take its place sometime soon. Again, keep in touch with me and I'll let you know when I hear about any official opening dates for any of this stuff. But do you know what new Disney show does have a release date that I do know for certain? I'll give you a hint. It's not at the parks. Actually, it's at Disney Springs, and it's one I'm really looking forward to seeing. Drawn to Life, presented by Cirque du Soleil and Disney, is, as the Disney Springs website describes it, a love letter to the art of Disney animation through acrobatics, music, and dance. And there's also a giant glove that kind of looks like the hamburger helper guy, which is super interesting. Now, this show is going to begin November 18th, 2021. You can make your ticket purchases and reservations today on the Cirque du Soleil website. But what about the new experiences that have already opened? Well, just recently, Space 220 welcomed space travelers into its Centauri space station on September 20th so that we could dine 220 miles above Epcot itself. We released our review of Space 220 not too terribly long ago, so I'll link it here for you to check it out later. And I could probably keep going, but I'll wrap up this point for now. Like I mentioned earlier, you can always learn more about the park's openings, reopenings, and closures on our website. We write about it every single week. And you can also subscribe to our DFB newsletter, and we'll drop those types of announcements directly into your inbox for you. You're welcome. All right, let's talk crowds. Crowds are back in full swing. Though regulations on masks have gone back and forth since the park's reopening last year, physical distancing regulations have not returned, and the park capacity continues to increase, meaning crowds have come back full force and may arguably be bigger than before. But not recently, of course. September is usually Disney's down season where things calm down quite a bit, but this summer the crowds came in hordes for families and travel parties who were ready to get back out and vacation once again, people who had had to cancel their trips in 2020. And I'm no psychic or anything, but I bet you a nickel that we're going to see those intense crowds once again when the 50th anniversary celebration begins, leading into the Christmas season. Yeah, let's keep an eye on it. Not a fan of intense crowds? Well, let me give you some tidbits of advice for navigating around the potential masses. First off, if you want to avoid crowds, then you're going to need to avoid getting in the standard queue lines of those popular rides, because even if you're attempting to give the people in front of you some space, there's no guarantee that the guests behind you are going to be as courteous. Plus, in some lines, any amount of distancing feels nearly impossible. If you don't want to miss out on these rides, try hitting them up closer to closing time. Remember, cast members will let you jump in line right up until the park officially closes, no matter what the predicted wait time may state. So if you don't mind waiting in the after the parks have closed lines, you might still be able to hit up that super popular attraction and wait in a shorter line for it. When it comes to the Magic Kingdom fireworks, the front of the castle or somewhere down Main Street USA is going to be your only option for being able to see those projections. That being said, those crowd levels in the main hub, they can be wild. So if you don't have to see the projections, you'd really rather just watch the fireworks display, try choosing a spot in one of the less crowded areas, like near Prince Charming's Regal Carousel or the new Tangled Rest area. You'll still get a clear view of the fireworks while also maintaining plenty of elbow room. Also, plan on hanging back after Magic Kingdom closes to avoid the mass exodus after the show. Gift shops down Main Street USA will remain open for those trying to linger a little longer in the park and also avoid the shoulder-to-shoulder crowds trying to shove their way onto Disney transportation. That's another good reason to see the show from somewhere back in Tomorrowland or Fantasyland, because then you're not in the middle of all of the bumper-to-bumper madness trying to leave the hub. You can just sort of wander slowly out of the park and not have to deal with those unbelievable crowds. Now, you can also ditch the fireworks altogether. Yeah, I know, that's the killjoy way of looking at things, but if avoiding the sea of guests is your goal at the end of the day, it's always an option you can consider. We're just saying. So what about masking, you may ask? As of the release of this video, masks are still required at all indoor locations around the Disney World parks. Could this change tomorrow? Sure. Could it change back a couple of days later? Absolutely. To be on the safe side at all times, always keep multiple masks in your travel bags. It's best to have them on hand and find out they're no longer required than not have them and find out they're required. Okay. Getting around Disney has changed, and I probably could have added this into my point about catching up on what's open at Disney, but this really deserves a section of its own. Disney's Magical Express, which takes resort guests to and from the Orlando International Airport, is retiring at the beginning of next year. If you're flying in for your Disney vacation in 2022, you'll need to make a reservation with Disney's newest transportation system, Mears Connect. You know what's kind of funny? This point could have also been in the Stretch Your Wallet section because though Disney's Magical Express was a complimentary service for resort guests, it'll now cost you and your travel party to arrive and depart from the most magical place on Earth. There are two services you'll be able to choose from, the Standard service and the Express service. Prices are probably going to fluctuate after Mears Connect has been around a bit, but for the introductory prices, we've got $32 per adult, $27 per kiddo for Standard service, and for Premium Express service, you'll be paying up to $200 for 4 passengers and an extra $55 for each additional passenger. Now, if you're iffy about that new service, you can also call in a ride-sharing service like Uber or Lyft to get you from point A to point B, or you can use a taxi. But do the math beforehand and see if it'll really be any cheaper in the long run. It might be. It definitely might. But it's all going to depend on how many people will be in your travel party, how much luggage you're going to be bringing, and what time of year you're planning on visiting. Lots of variables. Now, once you're at Disney, you'll find out how you navigate the parks and hotels has changed a bit since reopening last year, too. Before your vacation begins, you're going to need to purchase your park tickets and make park pass reservations. Let's break this down. You got several different park ticket options to choose from. Standard park tickets start at a base price of $109 per day, and prices will fluctuate depending on what days you're visiting and how many days you're visiting. Then you've got your Park Hopper or Park Hopper Plus options. That's an extra $65 on top of your regular ticket price. And a Park Hopper will provide you with the capability to visit multiple Disney World parks in one day. Now, we've got a couple of caveats. Catch A, you must visit the park you make a park pass reservation for first, and catch B, you can only jump to another park after 2 p.m. Once the clock strikes 2, you're free to roam as you please, and you don't have to worry about having a park pass reservation for the other parks, just the first one you visit. Now, if you get a Park Hopper Plus for an extra $85 on top of your regular ticket price, you'll be able to add an extra Disney experience outside of the 4 parks to one of your vacation days. Just know that the choices for this ticket option are a bit limited nowadays. Many of the added experiences you could have used for the Park Hopper Plus option before are still awaiting reopening, like Typhoon Lagoon, or are closed altogether, like the NBA experience. The last option I want to talk about real quick is Disney World's new annual pass holder program. Those who are wanting to visit Disney World multiple times during the year will now be able to purchase an annual pass once again. However, as I've probably made very clear during the course of this video, the annual passes look different than they used to. If you're a Florida resident, you got a few different pass holder options to choose from that range in price and experience. But if you're from out of state, you only have one option available, the Disney Incredipass, which will cost you $1,299 per pass holder. Now that's quite a sticker shock, but if you do plan on visiting multiple parks several times throughout the year, maybe the ends will wind up justifying the means. There are some nice perks with being a pass holder after all. You'll have access to exclusive pass holder merchandise, be able to park for free, and you'll receive 20% off select restaurants, merchandise purchases, and activities. You'll also be able to make up to 5 park pass reservations without having to worry about blockout dates, and for an extra $99 per ticket, you'll be able to access all your PhotoPass photos for each of your trips. That's right, annual passes no longer have PhotoPass automatically. We did a whole video about it. Go check it out. Okay, so navigating the parks has definitely changed. What about navigating the hotels? Before the shutdown, Disney encouraged guests to resort hop, so that they could sample all the different places to stay on property. Now, resort hopping is no longer encouraged. If you try to drive to a resort just to visit, you'll be turned away by a cast member at the front gate. The only way you'll be able to drive into a hotel that you're currently not staying in is if you've made a dining reservation ahead of time. As long as the front gate cast member can scan your park ticket and see your valid dining reservation, you'll be welcomed in. In conclusion, there's a lot that's happened within the past year and a half. Lots of openings, closures, reimaginings, price hikes, overall changes that, to be frank, can feel like a crashing wave engulfing you over and over again. We know that's where we live right now, especially if you're trying to finalize that dream Disney vacation of yours. So that is why we're here. That is why we do videos like this. We know that you are in the middle of something very, very confusing, overwhelming, and extremely expensive. And it's our job, this is what we do every day, to clarify it for you, help you understand the pros, cons, the ups, downs, the good, the bad, so that you can make the best possible choices for your family and not waste a ton of money. Literally, that is why we do what we do. That's why we get up in the morning. That's what we talk about all the time. How can we make this easier for you? So hopefully this video has helped to sort of get you the lay of the land. But something else I want to tell you about is our DFB guidebooks. We have a giant DFB guide that will tell you everything you need to know about dining in Disney World specifically. So if you're planning on going back to Disney World and your next step is figuring out your dining, I can highly recommend that book. I know I wrote it, but it's everything I know, so much information in there. It gets updated twice a year with all the details you're going to need. And it is unbelievably useful. Every time I go into that book and I read that stuff, I'm just overwhelmed with the information in there. And honestly, it's going to help, I promise. So if you're feeling stressed out about dining next, go ahead and grab our DFB Guide to Walt Disney World Dining. You can get it over at dfbstore.com. That's where we sell it. There's a money back guarantee. If it's not right for you, absolutely let us know. We will get your money back to you. But it's a great ebook, super useful, and will help walk you through booking your dining in Disney World and a lot of other things as well. And don't forget to use code YouTube for a discount if you do decide to purchase that. Okay, so if you're finally thinking about going back to Disney World, hopefully this video helped. There's still a lot that's changing, but this will set the path for you. Thanks so much for listening, everybody. Thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.